Hey guys, welcome to another session of The Letter. On the last session, we got our good old boy Ashton, meeting up with good old Zach at his apartment along with Isabella. Now, from there, basically after their little talk about, the crazy events that surrounds the mansion, um, Ashton decided to go with Isabella to her job to get some documents that may have some connection to not only to his case, but as well maybe just find a way to end this whole thing. So, after some sad, crushing defeat, that Ashton never gonna get the beloved Isabella as her as his GF from that one instance from the security guard. We will. I think we're up in the elevator to the office area now. So let's find out how we got it turned out for this poor boy Ashton, and let's continue. All right, let's see here. But seeing Isabella's small from beyond those doors, and how she pushes through despite carrying an entirely different burden this time, how she's pretending as if everything's normal, it's difficult not to try. People who never look beyond her smiles will never know, will never understand. Hell, even Rebecca's probably not yet aware of this. I get it. We have other problems at hand. I've done the same thing plenty of times to protect myself. After all, but it's all in her eyes once she glances up to a few light raps I give the door. She wastes no time in leaving the mess of papers on the table and opening it for me, though even her confusion as she takes in my presence barely hides it. Alright, who wants the voice of Rebecca? Uh,
I can do it.
okay, or Alice is here actually.
Hi, it's actually, I guess it's still my voice, so I'll do
I
it.
mean, if you're not in the mood,
Alice, it's your girl.
I'll do it. Seb let you in?
the rough edge in her voice rings a different tune now that I'm aware why. But knowing is different from hearing straight from her, I can't simply bring this up, can I? It's not a topic suited for casual conversation, and I doubt she wants to talk to me about it. As much as I want to help, there's a distance between us I'll never be able to cross, one that wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for me. Perhaps I had been more honest years ago, and then less of a coward. Might have been able to. Figures I could even do that for the person I keep telling myself that I care deeply about. Mr. Nick?
Okay, sorry. I keep forgetting to unmute myself.
Nah, you good.
Sorry, I had like 5 minutes of internal monologuing to do there, but what can I say? I'm a very charming person.
To a rock, maybe?
This is the closest we can get get to it, I suppose. The light banter, the fleeting glances, or sometimes the long bouts of silence. It is enough for me. It is because even without words, there's comfort. With her, it's easy.
Must be a pretty cool rock, then.
Get over yourself.
Edie.
Hey, now I deserve some slack here. Today's supposed to be my day off, and yet here I am helping you out.
Helping by standing at the door?
Well, you're not exactly letting me in.
Despite what she says, she moves back. She moves to block me when I try to enter. She must have expected this. The second we walked up the building's entrance and counted on the night shift guard to bar me in from the place. It's reassuring to know she's somehow worried about me, although it's a bit misplaced at the moment. Besides, her concerns aside, I can't really let her get into the thick of things without me. Not with all the problems on her plate right now.
Isabella,
Seriously, Ash. Seb might get in trouble for this. You might get in even bigger trouble with your boss.
and you're not? We've already talked about this back at Zach's. It's out of the question.
At least do it for Seb, please. He's a really nice guy. With the way things are going here, he's...
On that, I agree with her. Seb is not much of a bad fellow, might be a little careless with his job and talks too much, but he means well. I hate to see the guy leave here with a bad record in case something goes wrong. However, the anxious look she shoots back at the table behind her brings an even bigger worry.
Wait, did you find something? Aside from what you told me about yesterday.
Not yet. I'm not sure. I haven't even started going through the files we have in the records room, just the ones they handed to me in rows.
Let me see.
Wait, Ash.
Isabella, I already promised you that no one's going to get in trouble after we're done here. Even Seth. I'll make sure we leave this place clean. Got my squeegee and disinfectant on me right now.
Well, with her hesitation still there, a split second of indecision as she tries to form an argument. Eventually, when nothing comes to mind, she steps aside.
Okay, fine. But we can't take the original files out of this office, clear? Not even a single sheet. We'll just have to make a copy.
Don't worry, that's the plan.
It appears to reassure her. A nod, and shortly she gestured for me to follow. Passing the sea of cubicles, I can't help but take in everything in their office, a force of habit for the most part. As far as I know, the BRC Luxborn used to own this whole building. Offices on several floors, once upon a time when real estate is still a lucrative business for the company on this side of the country. Then competition showed up, and suddenly everything's not so good anymore. It only got worse as the years went by, or so according to the rumors. Now the branch is just on this floor, despite what the huge sign of the building facade says, and frankly, it's not too hard to believe when it looks from the state of this room right now. A number of desks has been cleared out. Personal mementos are scarce as if the employees has gone in an exodus. That'd be downsizing, probably. Still worrisome though. Of course, I shake away all this when Isabella starts handing me the papers that she's been looking through. Focus, Frey. There's no point in whining or dwindling any longer on it. That's why we're here in the first place, to find out the real deal the old-fashioned way. Isabella's presence is a whole other blessing too. I can't imagine how long this would take if I pushed going in here alone.
Is this everything? Where are the documents you mentioned?
Still locked up in the records room. Do you need them now?
Bring them here. Everything that has to do with the mansion's sale. Even those who worked on it during the renovations, the cleanup, everything. Including your mandatory sign-in sheet.
It's an odd thing to bring up, but at least it elicits a laugh from her before she heads for the records room. She remembers. And no matter how weak the sound of it is from her usual ones, it's a welcome thing to hear. It reminds me that the Isabella I know is still in there. She returns a minute later with a stack of folders and binders. The next half of the hour, the work is in complete silence as we dig into everything compiled in the folders. Not an easy task considering how thick the whole thing is, but there's two of us. In fact, Isabella does most of the work, sorting the contract, the employee list, and stuff we don't need into a neat pile. Just as the files for the restoration alone makes up for the stack of papers that's an inch thick. Third-party service providers hired for the masonry, radiators, woodworking, plasters work, slate roofing, and a whole bunch of other things are well documented. Hell, every single contractor who worked on the project were listed individually, even if they were just there to do the plumbing. The high profile and the high cost estate, alright. But with the scopes there comes the loopholes, mean plenty of room to hide something in if there's something fishy going on. All I have to do is find a pattern. And it doesn't take too long. Upon closer glance, despite the original workers shouldering the renovation cost, it will be surprising if they manage to break into Ermagon Mansion. Kitty Cat, what are you doing? Please move out the way. You're blocking my screen here. Forgive me, guys. Kitty Cat issues. There we go. What an additional expenses for the open house, the commission for their agents, and other overhead fees. At one point, the negotiations to get listed under BRC's name almost broke down, too. Some disagreement about the listing price. The owners wanted to be rid of it as quickly as possible while keeping the worth at the profitable level. BRC was insisting on a higher amount, double what the appraisers suggested. This, plus the rumor that the branch is closing, BRC Luxborn is really in the red, and the sales of the mansion could have been a desperate move to keep the branch afloat.
No wonder the final sale happened as fast as it did. Did you know about this?
No, they took it off our hands after I submitted the final documents for the sale. I didn't even know until I've read this. I'm not sure if Rose did. I've only ever been given the key to the records room after she... Anyway, my point is, they've kept all the files from me. Rose was the one who compiled everything from our side, and even then, she was probably not aware of this. There's only so much they let us know. After that, they just told us to wait for our commission and that the legal team would handle the rest. The rumors are true, huh?
It seems so.
Sheesh, this place is just unlucky, going bankrupt while the rest of this crap is happening. But this isn't what we're looking for. What we need is who the people aside from Isabella and Cooper involved in this business with the mansion, and how they are now. We can't do much with the outside contractors, they won't be on file. The employee list, on the other hand, even with 2 people working through the pile, the whole task takes quite a while. Quarters of an hour later, we put down the papers with a sigh and move on to the clients upon Isabella's insistence. For that, the sign-in form from the open house comes in handy. Something that gives me a laugh when I spy the fake name I wrote in one of the sheets. Wonder which one's a fake name.
Is it Ashley?
Ashley? Yeah, I see it.
I was like, are we trying to see like if the ghost wrote their name on the thing? I don't really.
Oh god,
I don't really-
that'd be hardcore. Alright, let's see. Go ahead.
Why'd I even pick this name? It sounds so lame.
What name?
Nothing important. Just focus on those papers you have. We need to finish this soon before Seb suspects any.
She snatches the paper away before the thought of hiding it occurs to me. Not that there's much secret in it. Isabella found me that afternoon anyway. But still.
Wait, Ashley?
I'd been careless that day, telling Luke Wright without confirming where they were headed off to. While the butler terribly efficient in keeping the right engagements from the public eye, there are other ways that I've only given the time of my day. In retrospect, I've been too eager, too impatient to find something that'll crack the case and be done with it. Maybe my failure goes as far as back as the day of the open house and not during the party last night.
Yeah, well, I was pressed for time.
Seriously, Ashley, were you even trying?
It's a perfectly legitimate name. Come on, you didn't even notice I was the one that wrote it down.
Yeah, of course I wouldn't. Only an idiot would use his real name.
Well, it worked though. You know, admit it, it's genius. Who would have thought, huh?
She responds with a roll of her eyes and drops the matter entirely by shoving the paper back into my hands. We lapse back into our respective tasks afterwards, wordlessly skimming through everything. Read, set aside, get another one. Looking back at the sign-in sheet, I spot Loot Reich and Hannah Wright listed up top. Not that I don't want to know them, that I know about them already, of course, but scanning through the list, a name immediately comes to my attention.
Madeline Williams.
Is something wrong?
No, it's just that I remember the squirrel listed here.
She frowns and moves her seat closer to take a careful read at the sheet. There's a long moment before she speaks up again. but from the way she tenses, she appears to be expecting the worst already.
What about her?
She was with me in the group following Cooper when we toured the upstairs part of the mansion. Rather loud one, especially when we took a peek in the attic. Kept talking about the ghost stories the whole tour.
Then do you think she's...
She was reported missing 3 days after.
There was a ruckus at the precinct that her family filed it. Threats were naturally given at the lack of progress days later, desperate ones. Her family is willing to shell out the cash that they'll just have to find her, to no avail, unfortunately. Officer Benjamin has been in a bad mood ever since he spoke with them, but what can he do? What can we do? We tired, we tired and we're all tired, and there's only so much we're able to do with everything that has been shoved into our hands recently.
She still hasn't been found. It's already been a week.
Isabella makes no further comment aside from a nod. Instead, she sits back down in a chair with a distant look in her eyes, her hands balling to a fist as she struggles with her frustration, or maybe it's anger. But the moment that but the moment doesn't last too long. Soon her grip loosens and she folds her hands back in her laps. Her expression, however, it's one I've seen too many times in the mirror. What does one say to a person burned by not one by one's loss, but many? Who carries at her shoulders to make it like a badge of shame? I've yet to find the answer to that myself. Until then, the only way forward is to press on see where our attempts at fixing our mistakes might lead us. Despite my own doubts, a glimpse of that look on her face is enough reason for me. I can't just give up. There's too much at stake, too much to lose. With a renewed focus, I continue. On the third and the last sheet, I spot another one. Beatrice Wild? Is that how you say it?
I guess.
Yeah. One I recall from the newspaper obituaries. Died of a heart attack. A letter of correspondence expressing condolences to her family confirms as much in her files. Passed away at age 74 in her sleep.
She's at that age. It certainly could have been a natural death.
Right? I like to believe so. But there are 3 more letters that comes up in the rummage through the sack, and it leaves nothing more than a foreboding feeling in me. All addressed to the families of the client that have passed away in the weeks past. Regardless, they go into the pile of things worth looking into after our visit here, along with the Williams info sheet. There's just so many names, so many faces, each one I seen that day, and here I am wondering if they're all alright. It isn't selfish thought that brings a question in mind, rather it's logic if more of them are still alive, the more people I could choose to question. Nothing concrete yet, of course. They're just speculations, but we're making progress. Once done with the sign-in sheets, I stash along the growing pile on my left and pull out as many of the other documents Isabella has already prepared for me. We're working through the employee lists now, those who have been assigned to the mansion. Because if Isabella wants to be believed, if that's what she's seen and what happened to Rose Cooper, it's because of that letter. I need to know everyone who has possibly read it, aside just from the 3 of us, if they've been noticing strange things too. For all I know, these just might have been the terrible coincidence. Although the thought of that starts to diminish as we dig into the BRC company files. 15 minutes later, the stack close to my elbow has risen from 5 to 21 different dossiers. Clients and employee documentations, people who had either visited the open house or worked on the property in some capacity since the letter's discovery. Turns out there were 2 more employees who handled the mansion directly, aside from Coopers and Isabella. Christian Sai, the realty specialist. Oh my God, Mark Julius Khan Marianne, the estate appraiser.
Very good. This, Sai guy. He was in custody just the other day.
Really? Sir John has been looking for him. He stopped reporting to work a few weeks ago. Are you sure it's the same person?
Yep, this is him. Folks at the precinct said that they went to his house after a noise complaint. They found him just acting all crazy. Had to take him in when he started getting violent. He kept screaming about a woman.
Immediately, she stiffens. I don't want to bring it up or imply a connection to Isabella's story, but that is exactly what happened.
Is driving all the guards mad, but he he didn't last too long in there. A few hours in, and he just started bashing his own head against the wall, and, well, it was messy, to say the least.
Oh no, we had no idea. Is he okay? HR just marked him as AWOL because none of their calls would get through.
He's in the hospital right now. I heard they're putting him in a psychiatric ward as soon as he recovers. He's still a bit unstable.
Jean Marianne, on the other hand, his employee files notes the date of leaving, and even with his final payment had been given. Along with it is a letter to his family about the appraiser being found dead in the office. Communication is hush-hush, and there is a mention of compensation if they didn't talk about it to the media. Inspector Abigail has been scolding me for not reading the reports on a regular basis, but I try to keep up to date as much as I can. When I do, I'm aware of the gist of what's going on in my city. This never reached the police ears on the health and safety executive.
Do you know about this guy?
One glance at her says everything. They hidden it from the media and they kept it from the police. It's not surprising that this will also be a secret from someone of Isabella's position in this company. Buck.
Rose was looking for him last week. We haven't heard anything from him either. Until now. They never mentioned this to us.
Business going under and someone dies while working here? Of course they want to keep that quiet. It's bad publicity. This whole thing is just getting freakier by the minute. Nonetheless, I hand the files for Isabella to make a copy of.
The pages with their names, addresses, and contact numbers will do. We'll start with the ones who live within the city.
Sometimes, there are things that you can really brush off as a mere coincidence. In my line of work, once a pattern pops up, it's only right to be suspicious. Especially the thing with Sai. Hits too close to the stuff of what my own friends has been telling me.
All of this?
It's considerably thinner than the one she brought in. Yet somehow, the way she hugs the folder close to herself makes it even seem heavier. Like she's been hanging onto it the same manner one will latch onto a lifeline.
Only the noteworthy ones.
And those might be still and those that might be still alive. My God, dang it, kitty cat. Sorry, go ahead. Come here, girl.
We can't check the outside contractors, but the guys with a direct connection to the ERC and the people who attended the open house should be enough. You don't have time to see how everyone's doing, especially if what you said is true.
For a second, she appears about to argue, then quickly decides against it and hides it away before anyone reads a question in her face. Then, in a too abrupt motion, she turns towards the copier and gets to work. Soon, only the machine's constant thumb fills the air around us, while I keep myself busy cleaning up the mess we've made. The lack of talk is awkward, to put it mildly, disturbing at worst. I've gotten so used to letting her just babble away whatever's just the two of us. I could tell, however, she wants to do more. She wants to fix this mess herself and the desire that makes her antsy. But at the same time, she's learning not to be impulsive or stubborn, exactly as I had told her yesterday before agreeing to any of this. Or maybe the so-called changes has always been with her. Dire situation have always pushed people to change, after all. Although, seeing this happen in front of me only makes it difficult to find proper things to say. In an atmosphere this tense and charged, what is left for us to talk about? Certainly not the news. What's worse is that you only realize all this in hindsight, right after you've already ran your mouth off.
You know, if for a house your company seems to be in a hurry to sell, they still made quite a fortune out of it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 6. Are you sure they're planning to give your entire share for this? This isn't a small amount, especially given the usual cut, and their accounting department isn't in the greatest shape either.
Well, even if they don't, it's not like someone still needs it.
And there's a reason why people don't let me talk. Silence once again descends throughout the room, denser compared to the ones we shared tonight. Behind me, I can still hear her movements, sharp and precise, while she feeds the originals to the machine. Then, with one last click, all of it stops. Her feet shuffles lightly against the floor, and when she moves away, something creaks softly, probably the table, as she settles her weight against its side. By this time, an apology is already at the tip of my tongue, but
Bella, I'm.
Papa's gone, Ash.
within those scant few seconds, everything between us shifts as the gravity of her words sinks. Right then and there's something harsh and immovable rises between us. Death is something I'm familiar with. Almost 10 years in the police force, it's impossible not to be acquainted with it. But this is different from those dead bodies we examined in forensics. A far cry from the victims we found on a bad investigation. Those I can easily distance myself from. No emotional attachments, no need for pretenses. Yet somehow I still find myself grasping for those things to tell her. Any words of comfort that dulls the pain. Besides, even without looking at her, her grief feels palpable enough, her pain, an immutable weight hanging over us. So gently I offer,
Ooh,
Tell me about him.
anybody else?
yeah, I feel like that's the more.
You want to
Get
talk
more
about
Tell
information.
me about him, yeah.
you
Tell
want
me
to talk
about him.
about Papa? All right, let's talk about Papa. Anybody disagreement? We got 3 votes for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's prove that we don't
Go
have
for
the
it.
emotional IQ of like a rotten turnip.
All right,
Like, please, let's be nice for once.
I'm be Coupe
I was
d'etat
gonna say
and
we have the most
Hot
IQ
rock
of a
or
devil's
something.
egg.
all right.
Yeah, we're egg.
Just stay busy with the devil's egg. So I'm just kidding. I'll never do that.
Oh, boy, I
So
brought my pocket eggs here to pass the time.
this one's pumpkin spice for some reason. It's weird, I know, but it works. Just kidding. All right. So let's talk about it.
When? I'm so great at asking questions.
Huh? When what?
Your dad. I mean, when did you find out?
She doesn't answer. Not immediately, anyway. For a long moment, the hush simply stretches out before us, spanning across the seconds we let pass while we both simply stand there, waiting. Eventually, she exhales, lightly muted enough that I might have missed it, had I not been paying attention to her every movement.
Yesterday, around 3 in the afternoon there, Amma called and she told me he passed away in his sleep, and I guess I can take comfort in that, huh? That Papa wasn't in any pain when.
She trails off, releases another ragged breath hidden beneath her chuckles, each one mirthless, heavy, without nothing but sorrow. Then she falters to a silence, and for all my attempts at lighting her burden, I'm suddenly at a loss. Reassurances can only do so much. Her only reason for staying here has suddenly been taken from her. Hope yanked from under her feet right after it was generously given. And without the one person who pushes her to endure all of the shit she's going through, means nothing but a struggle. What does one say to a person fraying at the edges, slowly wearing thin and breaking? Are words even enough? What right do I have anyway? I cannot give her anything apart from the lies that changed me as a person and affections she may or may not even want for herself. Because no matter how easy she still has warmed herself into our lives, how mutable her presence has become, her own heart will always yearn for something else, for home.
Tell me about him.
Huh? About what?
Your dad. Tell me about him. Anything. Just talk. Just say anything you want. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll listen.
Silence again as she's testing the weight of my question. For what purpose it is, for a reason I can't even say right now. After a while, though, she starts, reluctantly, her voice hitching, faltering, and stumbling on each of the syllables as she chooses her words. A rough start, but soon it steadies, and along with it, to keep the company the stories from childhood and memories she's fond of, are the tears. Despite this, and despite of the grief choking her words off, the hurt closing her throat, and the sobs racking from the lies formed, she continues, like the mere act of speaking is a relief in itself, a release. She tells me of her father, the very person who named her, how she looked up to him, and how she was a bit of a tomboy growing up in her attempts to intimidate him.
Imitate. Imitate.
And how the man encouraged her to pursue what she really wanted. Perhaps even the only thing she ever did for herself, having grown up not wanting anything more than a food to put on their tables.
He told me that I don't have to listen to them, that I can do what I want. Every day he'd wake up at 4 because he'd earn more that way. And every single time, he'd give them to me. Whatever extra he earned, he'd hand them all so I'd have something to use for my paintings. And you know what? Back home, just a good tube of paint costs almost as much as what we spend for food for the whole day. But he'd always set something aside. He told me he wanted to see my paintings in a museum one day.
She pours all of it out, every little thing she loved and admired about him. Like this, it's easy to see why she has gone great lengths for him, why she abandoned her dreams, and why she went against his wishes, just to grant him another chance at life. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither was wrong, but neither is the whole truth to her either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it. See her. See someone earnest, someone who always meant well despite her underlying stubbornness. This is how she loves. Warm, steadfast, unflinching. You never meet many people like her, not in my line of work, not with the kind of people I have to deal with. Always with something to hide, always was with something to lie about. Eventually, when you run across too many of them, you change. You become like them, in many ways, for a lot of reasons. She's the kind of person I want to be, and to be around with. Who made me feel that I'm still worth something?
He didn't want me to leave. He begged I should finish my studies first. In the end, I couldn't even grant him that one request. I'm a terrible daughter, aren't I?
You're not.
Huh?
You're not. I can't speak for your dad. I haven't even met the man, but I know you're not.
I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with this. The remark just came out, and now I'm stringing all of these together as I go. But one thing is certain, none of what I'm about to say is a lie.
Isabella, I know, is a total klutz, but I've never seen anyone work as hard as she does. She's the type who wears her heart on her sleeve, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's always in the right place. She is intimidated by a lot of stuff, but she knows how to appreciate the smallest things in life. Frankly, you've caused us no small amount of trouble since you barged into our lives. When I'm with you, all my worries seem
Are
trivial.
we having a confession after we talked about her dead dad?
Yeah! Let's do this!
What are you doing?
Alright, no, let's not ruin the moment. Heat has already crept up my face when the turn this whole thing's about to take registers. Before I blur out the rest of it, declare feelings I'm not even ready to reveal to anyone, much less to her. My hand comes up to smother the rest of it. Though embarrassment quickly takes the reins before I can completely clamp my mouth shut.
And I'm pretty sure Zach and Becca think too. Yeah, them too. You have a nasty way of growing on people like that. And you know what? We got everything we needed in here. Yes, I'll just wipe the security recordings and we're good to go. While I'm at it, you better wipe that snot off your face. And you don't look very nice when you're bawling like that. Jeez, what's he nagging her?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
This is
nice. Get a naked girl after her dad just died.
this is some anime bullshit. But anyways,
This guy's problem.
I don't know, man. He's not
Like,
really
and
good
he
with.
used the worst possible terms. Like, her dad died of cancer, and then he referred to her as something that grows on people. Like,
Yeah, with like every compliment, he's like, "Well, you're kind of a big hot mess, but like, you kind of are friends."
Yeah, you go,
What
friend.
did I just say? Emotional IQ of a rotten turnip. Like,
Well,
God, Ashton.
a turnip would never turn on you like this.
a turnip.
I mean, damn. You're right.
Alright. Hastily, I gather everything the personal files and client documents and sell agreements and contracts. Anything my hands could reach. On record time, all of it is stacked in a neat pile, ready for storage. I'm heading for the record room not a few seconds later. Wherever that is. It should be an easy find, unless this place is a maze of some sort, which I highly doubt. Still beats staying here and seeing the look in her face. Crap. Really, her anger is still bearable, I can take that, including the grower she sends my way.
Yeah, I'll go get the security videos and put these back where you pulled them from. Oh man, these are heavy.
Ash, it's just paper. You don't even know where I.
Oh no, I can handle this. Easy as pie. And yeah, security cams, tapes, videos, cams, security. I'm off.
Her ejection at this point? Maybe. Maybe not yet. Ellipses. Getting the files back to BRC archive room is a cinch. With the documents back in their proper places, I lock the door behind me, tugging it twice just to make sure. Now to the next order of business. Moving the evidence of our little excursion in here, or at the very least, the parts showing what we've been doing the past hour. Can't have our faces plastered on security footage showing us breaking the laws as it were. I'm gonna have to wipe the data for Isabella's access card entries too. Surprisingly, finding the security room proves a breeze, which will be tricky getting inside. The fact that no one has walked out during the whole time has been the means the room is rather either empty or the security sounds asleep. And I'm banking more on the former. If they're cutting corners and fire agents, I have no doubt they'll fire the guy stationed here, if they have anyone watching the monitors in the first place. It's rather a common thing for establishment just leave security recording indefinitely and only check the footage if something actually happens. Just to check, I press my ears against the door, listening for a sign of anyone occupying the room. After a long minute and nothing, I give the knob a few rattles.
Standard lock and key. Should be easy enough to pick.
We have the lockpick sets, but those were only used if necessary, and within search weren't. Even then, it's a skill set rarely needed. Subtlety isn't the cop's priority if they have authority to search the premise. Bolt cutters and brute force are the favored methods. If those fail, we call locksmith. Me, I prefer the good old hairpin trick with those options aren't available. Besides, they're easy to hide and store for emergencies. Running my
Yeah,
hand through
this guy
my
watches
hair.
the lockpicking lawyer. Sorry.
Hell yeah, he watches it scattered on his freaking feed. But I pull out a pair of bobby pins. Two of these I can just about open any center lock. One makes a lever and the other makes a handle. I won't call it a complex skill, but it certainly takes time and a lot of practice to successfully pick a lock. Good thing I practiced with them for a bit of my college years. I've learned more when they're accessible and standard issue for a law enforcement officer.
Is he like opening other dorm rooms? Jesus.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this guy played Oblivion. He knows what's up.
Alright, so you gotta get the little, like, the clicky clack. No, I'm just kidding. I will go here, click there, and I manage to seize all the pins in the locking mechanism soon enough. With a slight turn of the knob, the security room's ripe for the picking. Ah, hell yeah, look at that presence of that ghost. The room's odor hits me first, a sharp, nauseating stench as if someone has accidentally spilled a gallon of bleach in the room. When was the last time they opened this place?
This place smells awful. Jesus, it's worse than the forensics lab on a bad day.
This is probably because of a badly botched effort to clean the place up. Even the dark, hold on, this background noise, it's driving me crazy.
It's very staticky.
Yeah. Even in the dark, I can spy dark stains in the walls. I really don't have time to try and play this as a ketchup or soda right now, but I have this strange gut feeling whose the mess might belong to. As expected, no security personnel mans the office of CCTV controls and the standalone DVR set up in the open for anyone. Normally, I have the heaps of things to say about the sloppy security setup, but right now, their makes the whole task of erasing evidence easier.
No fuss, no muss.
Next one should be the excess card data. Hopefully, getting to their computer won't be too much of a hassle. Everything up to now has been smooth sailing. There have been hiccups, I'll give it that, though it does nothing to dampen the good mood I'm in. Once I shift my attention to the machine sitting next to the DVR setup, all of it swiftly evaporates. I'm no computer buff, but I can definitely recognize more than one a decade old, or simply look at it makes me feel younger. With a heavy sigh, I power it up and mentally prepare myself for the slow slug. Slow, apparently, remains an understatement here. It takes a whole 3 minutes for the thing to start up, and the OS hasn't even started loading. And in my bedroom, I start inspecting the live feeds for the cams. Only two work. One for the view outside, and everything seems to be in order here, and the other for the main workspace where it's a fleeting glimpse of a cursory glance, but the side of it stops me. The image is a bit blurry, but it's standing there, right in the middle of the room by one of the cubicles. I can't make out the form of a...
What the hell?
I don't get too far into that line of thought. Not only a few seconds after my words have slipped out, without any sort of warning, while I'm still trying to make sense of what it is. The figure moves. A moment of paralysis hits me when she stops right in front of the camera. Like a damn rookie, I still go into the face of danger. I definitely haven't been trained to handle the supernatural, and this isn't one? And this is one, isn't it? And... oh, fuck! Her eyes bore into me, the malice in them piercing, even beyond the screen is enough to make me go numb. Only the mud crashing to the floor, when my hand accidentally takes a swipe at it, snaps me out of the trance, reminding me that I'm not the only one here. Isabella. It seems she hasn't noticed anything. Am I the only one seeing this? In any case, whatever's happening, I have to get her out. Gathering my wits, I quickly reach for my phone. It takes all but 2 seconds before she answers, but there's no time for relief.
Ashton? Did you really have to call? We're practically on the same floor.
Yo, get out of there.
What? Why are you...
Out. Get
Why
out.
didn't you just
I'll
run out
meet you in the
to her?
elevator.
Like, I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah, just...
You're creeping me out, Ash.
Just get yourself out of that place now.
Without a second thought, I back away from the controls from the room, ready to be done with this place. But before my foot even moves, she disappears. Oh, shit!
Move on.
Oh, there's all one ring shit.
Yeah, we're getting ring you up in this shit.
So,
Instinct instantly takes over, and my hand quickly reaches for the gun at my side,
You're gonna
only
shoot
to
the
meet with empty
Just shoot the
air.
ghost.
Shoot the ghost! A mistake cost me a few precious seconds while the paperwork I brought with me threatens to scatter everywhere at the same time. Gathering everything in myself once more, with no weapon to protect myself, and my sense of self-preservation kicks in next, I lunge towards the door. I sprint across the office without daring to look back. Isabella's already waiting in front of the elevators by the time I make it out of their office. Ori creases her eyebrows upon glancing at me, but I don't have time to answer the questions in her eyes. As soon as I reach her, I grab her arm, practically throw the two of us into the open elevator, and slam the button for the ground floor. A sigh of relief escapes with me from the elevator starts its descent.
we're safe inside the elevator.
A clicking noise
Oh my
fades off to the distance. Besides me, Isabella shifts and moving the stacks of paper under her arm while she takes in my appearance. Concern in her eyes, though, I offer her as a small gesture of my hand while attempt to compose myself. Breathe. In, out.
Why are we in such a hurry?
We need to get out of this place. Did you get everything?
Yeah, it's all here, but really, you don't look too good. What's wrong, Ash?
I'll be fine. I was in the security room. There's from the monitors. There's a fucking ghost ring shit.
Okay. The rest of what I'm about to say dies in my tongue when the elevator stops and the doors open to... Why does this feel like a QTE event coming up?
Get
Alright.
ready for those keyboard skills.
Oh boy, it's gonna suck! Ellipses. There's a moment of pause between while we both take in our surroundings. Confusion, understandably there.
Oh, come on. They should just replace this whole thing.
No, I'm quite sure I pressed the ground floor.
Right? But it's just as Isabella said. The elevator always does have problems when I visited the past. Often she becomes so angry whenever trying to get to her floor, she'll have to repeatedly smash the button for the elevator to even move. That was always good for a laugh. I wasn't too worried then. Now... From a distance, beyond the light's reach, those noise echoes in my ears along with the rapid pounding in my chest. Isabella stiffens and her eyebrows wide at the sound. Gingerly, she reaches up to grab the hem of my sleeve and grips it, hard, tight enough for her fingernails to dig through. Her eyes searches wildly for the source of the sounds while I stand protectively in front of her.
Ash, do you hear that?
My hands are sweaty.
Hello? Anyone there?
Ellipses.
I can hear you moving from here. Show yourself.
No response. No response, only the sound of something scurrying around the floor and the walls in slow, deliberate movements. Faint, though still audible enough in this hush. Until it stops. A moment.
We need to go, Ash. We have to.
And then, this time asserting it isn't my imagination. Against my training, my whole body freezes. Hand stilling mid-press of the button, eyes growing wide while standing, waiting for any sort of movement from the further back, and ears strained for the source of the sound. I can't even offer Isabella any reassurances, much as I hate to admit it. Dread has seeped into the nerve of my body. The blasted elevator still won't work.
This isn't my fucking training manual.
Ash, we need to leave. I know that sound, Ash. Please get the elevator.
Another
Well, I got my
series of
manual out
shuffling
and
against the
flipping through
sound.
the pages of the manual.
Another series of shuffling against the ground. A laughter. All of a sudden, she's just there. Like a twisted spider, she stares at us. A look hunger in her eyes, and venom in the twisted manners of her smile. A glee she has well earned, and the damn files has been dropped right on the spider's web.
Ashton?
Damn it, it's not on this page either.
Without warning, she
Why
moves.
don't we, like, leave the elevator then so we're not trapped in a closed space? Like,
I
Use
don't
the stairs,
know. It's a
dummy.
supernatural man. Without warning, she
There's
moves.
like all those cars there. Like, just steal a car.
I don't know. Maybe she knows. I mean, she got inside a car, so I don't think that would help. Mocking me.
Oh, you're right.
Mocking me with each unhurled crawl she takes, knowing I'm at her mercy.
Fucking hell.
Ashton, the door! The door!
Our lives in the hands of a crummy elevator, literally hanging between life and death. We're not going to die here. Not in a damn elevator. 6 1 5 7 4. Oh, really? 9 7. I can't use the side one. This is bullshit. All right, 7
Oh my God.
8 9 4 1 9 2 4 1 3. Fuck! Okay, I'm dead. I'm fucking dead. This is bullshit. I can't use the side keyboard.
Do you have number lock on?
You
I
have numlock on?
I do have
Wow,
numlock.
that
It's not
was
letting me use the numlock.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like I'm pressing the numlock.
Damn.
Hold on, let me try again. All
we
right,
know what's coming, so let's get ready.
all right. Yeah, it's not using the numlock, so I have to go old school on this. Okay,
Where we, like, push
5
all the buttons on the
9
elevator?
4 2 3
Hit the door.
1 3 7 2 9 7 2 4 9. What? 8 7. Oh, what? Oh, wait, there was a
I
skip
think we just
button?
gotta get enough numbers.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
As if some divine power has heard me swearing up a storm in my head, the doors just close as the thing looms near. Soon the elevator, the blasted thing, is headed up. Isabella's knee buckles in relief in the last 2 ticks. She's hugging herself without the care for the mess of papers and folders she has dropped on the floor in her panic. She draws in one ragged breath, another, catching one, each breathing with the nothing but the relief. And this is the most I've been tried in my whole damn life. Not during training, but when my superior first asked me to drop 100, not after a stakeout. But after smashing a fucking elevator button repeatedly, I slumped to the ground beside her, worn out, but I don't let myself feel relief again, not until we're out of here. Isabella seems to be the same mind as she looks to me. Still, I find myself sharing a shaky laugh with her.
We're okay. We're fine, right?
Yeah, we're good. Alive. We should have taken the goddamn stairs.
That's what I'm saying.
Twice I've seen it. Thrice I include the party. Unless I'm tripping balls without realizing it, there's no doubt in my mind this is actually happening. I don't want to believe it. But with the truth staring me in the face, it'll be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. As soon as the lift hits the ground floor, we hightail out of the building. Seb sounds asleep when we pass by his station. However, in the face of what we've seen, everything I faced tonight, we really can't care less if they still see us on our way out. The sooner we get away from this place, the further the better.
Does that mean we didn't erase our presence there?
I mean, he was in the middle of it, and he also left his gun behind, so I guess that'll be a no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
If
Yeah.
they're checking the security tapes, will they see the ghost like come out? Like I feel like there's bigger problems.
Oh,
than the security
this is
tapes.
definitely like a horror movie that's going on.
Yeah, like
All I can think is like Phasmophobia when the ghost popped up. Alright, so I'm just not sure if it also means being safe. She almost got us. Damn it, the fucking thing almost had us. Shit. It was the only by luck we managed to get the fucking elevator unstuck. Had the blasted thing not work in the last second. I need some fresh air. Fresh, breathable air that doesn't stink like death and gore all at once. I'm panicking, Christ, losing focus with another person here. I can't afford right now. Isabella hasn't said anything, but I know she's more shaken than I am. I can't let her loose with another person depending on me.
remember your training, Frey.
Another deep breath, and soon I was starting the engines and driving us off. After that little incident, somewhere open would be good. Someplace I won't get trapped.